recently this industry has changed, at least for the customer or the patient. They just completely do it, like to braid it. So I have to do a few at a time. Place where you would go borrow cassettes, watch movies. Everything changed, you know. Like, if I'm not wrong, a car with an automatic stick would be more proper, but there's still some shift. Hi guys, as you can see in this video, I'm going to trim this front braids because she wants to repair some. Let me start cutting. I don't have very strong scissors, so I have to do a few at a time. It always feels like I'm doing something so wrong when I cut braids like this, because I know how much work it takes to do it. I need to be careful to be far enough from my natural hair, but not be so far that the opening will take longer than necessary. But as you can see, there's no hair here yet, so we are pretty safe. shouldn't even bother because soon it will be really a history. And especially in Europe, the pressure on electric cars, it's quite heavy. I don't know if any of you has experience with electric car. I know there's like two camps. The ones who would, it's like evangelists of it, and then those who are like such stubborn petrolheads and say never ever. Me, I'm somewhere in the middle, like, why not, if it will serve me properly. I really like to watch, the trends, not the trends, but the newest things, like EVs and solar technology, and I watch all kind of these things, what's new in the world. And the tricky thing is that, look at us, me, in my life, I've purchased a cassette player for movies, a DVD player, a music kind of tower, all kind of things that died out so quickly and are now vintage. And that's why I'm a little bit afraid about. I watch these things, but I wouldn't rush into them because how many laptops, I had within my life, phones, and I kept exchanging because the technology is going so forward that the old one wouldn't just keep up, So that's what it really is like, kind of flagging for me, a red flag, that you invest, in EV and solar on your roof and here and everything, so much. And within 5 years they come with something so revolutionary, technology breakthrough, and you just ended up spending for a ton of junk. That's what I'm really concerned when it comes to these things, because nobody ever predicted that a Walkman will be replaced by phone. Nobody saw that coming in any way. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah. So, even the way tablets are now powerful. Basically, so many people just replaced laptops with tablets because they're so capable of handling so much. They can basically perform so much power, computing power that they just run on a USB-C cable. They can handle 4K video and it doesn't even have a fan to cool it. That's really come from afar. I remember when we were very young, because my grandfather was a scientist. He's got a computer, it had Windows 98, I think. So it was this huge box with even a huge monitor. just made so much noise when you turned it on. It was like rocket. And it was basically capable of doing absolutely nothing compared to today, you know. I mean, it was really so big and capable of so little, and today it's the exact opposite. So sometimes I feel stuck because even though I want to make progress, let's say in some kind of things, I know there's a time to wait. That's the thing with this era, you never know when it's the right time because the progress is so fast. I mean, in olden times, when you bought something, it lasted for the rest of your life because, I don't know, like when you bought a seat for a horse, you knew that there's not gonna be a better seat for a horse. So you have to calculate our money really carefully. It's a tricky era. It's like batteries, for example, how far they've come, you know, how fast they can charge these days, how long they can last. Or let's say microphones and all this audio technology, you know. It used to take an entire studio to have quality for, let's say, dubbing, you know, when there's a movie shot in one language and they're doing it in another. It took a studio to basically do the voiceover in the other language or make a music, you know. But today, music is made on a laptop, and the mics are so good at such low price compared to what they offer. And just everything changed, you know. Like, if I'm not wrong, I don't know, somebody told me that Netflix was it was basically a place where you would go borrow cassettes to watch movies. So I don't think even then they knew they would become what they became today. So there are things you cannot really plan. They just happen on their own. Or my father, I just remember he would always have the huge satellite on the balcony, catching everything from the whole world. Now it's just on the internet, you know. Basically every 5 years of my life I live in a completely different world, I could say. That's how fast everything changes. was quite surprised by the services offered these days. I've got a tooth fixed, and even the technology in this industry, it's very obvious that very recently this industry has changed, at least for the customer or the patient, because they just completely filed my tooth from both sides. It was a front tooth, so I was kind of not sure if they will fix it, but wow, she did such an amazing job. She filed it just to have something in the middle to attach the clay to, and I don't know if she scanned it with some kind of technology, because they check your mouth and everything, but I assume she kind of scanned it into the technology they operate, and then she clayed the tooth, and with laser they hardened it. I felt the heat. I mean, I had my eyes closed, but I felt the heat in my tooth even under anesthesia. So crazy that they actually harden something in your tooth by using lasers. And then it's all recorded, with the camera. So afterwards she was showing me when it was filed, when it was this, when it was that, when it was finished, and it was like, wow, what a change from the era where going to a dentist was a nightmare. This was actually if I've got noise cancelling earrings, earphones, because the noises are really nasty, it wouldn't have been actually at all. So crazy. People shouldn't say that dentist is bad anymore, because I've had really quite procedure to be done on me, and I wouldn't rate it even 5 on the rate of 10 on pain, on the scale of pain. It was 5, but mostly for the discomfort rather than pain. It was more ugly sound when somebody scratches the table, the board, or something like that very intensively, and you want them to stop, and they are not doing it. So it wasn't really a pain, but discomfort. So definitely there's a change. Even here, I feel the progress that recently are applied